In this short video, I'm going to take you through some great enhancements we've just added to our classes area, more specifically our class matrix area. I'm just going to jump into a class just to show you exactly what we have just released. So if I scroll down, I'm just going to choose this Advanced Diploma of Business class. This is fine. The first of two changes that we've recently added are the different views that we now have. So we've had the standard view, we've had the unit of study view and attendance mode. Some of you will also see e-learning or even assessments in here as well. But we now have this new one down the bottom called Portfolio Checklist. So when I select Portfolio Checklist, it then pops out this new drop down for me to actually select a checklist. If you're familiar with the portfolio area and even portfolio checklist as well, this is where against a contact record in Accelerate you can store a whole heap of different documents rather. So if it's a trainer, it could be all of their evidence. If it's a student, it could be IDs, it could be passports, it could be whatever it is that you want to store next to that student to do with funding or even just to do with the enrollment. You can also tie it back to a checklist. So you may not see this option under here, and the reason that would be is because you don't currently use portfolio checklists. So if you do go into updating the contact portfolio types, you can also create your first checklist as well. So if I select one checklist that I've already created, which is the pre-enrollment checklist, this is a combination that I've created of 3 different document types. So I've got an ID, I've got a driver's license, and I've also got a concession card. So you can see as soon as I pull up that view, I'm now looking across a whole cohort or group of students in a qualification. I'm having a look at exactly who actually has documents uploaded against their contact record or not. So I can see very clearly that Jade, for example, has a ID uploaded against that particular portfolio type. And there's an actual file that's been uploaded as opposed to, say, Timmy, who's just had information entered against that ID, but not necessarily an actual file uploaded. So that might be a concern if you really need, a file uploaded against that. We also have examples where we've got a file uploaded against a concession card, but that is actually expired. So this is a really great way as well if you've got students that are going through a full qualification and they could have a particular document type that may expire halfway through or whatever the case may be. This is a very quick way to see that particular document that was once valid has now expired. The other great thing about this is if you do want to, you can upload from this area as well. So you can either click add. I like to add through a new tab. So it's either Control or Command if you're on a Mac, and then click into a new tab. And it actually enables you to go straight to where you need to go through and upload that document. So I could then say certificate. I could choose a file, which might be my little test here, and submit. And I've just uploaded a concession card for this particular student, Lucy Rose. So now if I jump into this tab and just refresh my screen here, we'll now see against Lucy, I've just uploaded that particular document that she needed. So that is the first change, and it's a pretty major change, and it is a great feature, particularly for Crikos clients as well. I know that there's a lot of documents that you need to be ensuring that you're receiving as part of their enrollment, but also for complex funding and just generally, it's a great tool if you're trying to collect documents for students. So the second change that we've made is this other little feature over here called columns. So I'm going to jump back to our standard view just to demonstrate this. But columns are effectively going to hopefully change your life in the fact that they can take the normal class matrix that you would be used to looking at and virtually turn it into a live report. That's kind of how I've heard other clients refer to it as I've shown them the feature. So when I click on columns, I can actually choose a whole lot of different display fields, which is going to start adding columns to my existing class matrix. So I might want to have a look at the commencement date against a student, just to see how they're tracking. Maybe I'm concerned, or not even concerned, but maybe I should be concerned if I've got, a commencement date against a student and really a huge lack of progress within their qualification. So I can add as many different things as I like to this. I could also include, any of your traineeships, apprenticeship fields, finance model fields. So it's basically any of your enrollment fields you can actually include. So even study reason. The other thing that you can do is also add custom fields as well as any of the student information, as I've just scrolled past very, very quickly. So if you're wanting to just see whether their USI has been verified across a whole group of students, this could be a really, really great way of doing that. I might just grab one custom field as well, just to show you how the custom fields work. So if you are utilizing custom fields and you are filling them in against each enrollment, I could select this custom field here, which is a yes/no option. Do they have previous relative or relevant rather work experience or not, and choose to apply that. So once I have created, or once I have selected all of those columns, we can actually see here very clearly and very easily that data against our unit enrollments for every student in the class. It's another great reason, or another great way to see where details may not have been filled in as well, very, very easily in here too. The one last thing that you can do with columns is actually save views. So I could actually, if I want to pull this up very quickly, I can do that just by drilling into my settings, system settings, if you have access to the global settings, and then underneath your RTO vet settings, if I just scroll down, you actually have here class matrix saved views. Now, depending on what you call a class, it could be cohort matrix saved views. But basically what you can do is click on manage save views, and this will enable you to add as many different new matrix saved views as you'd like, so that you can easily pull them up when you're actually in the classes area, as opposed to you going and having to select all the columns each time. So I could call this the trainee view, and maybe it is, and you can also choose here, which is great, you can choose what view you actually want to have these extra columns added to. So is it the standard unit view? Is it your units of study view? Maybe it's to do with attendance or e-learning assessments, or even the portfolio checklist that I just showed you as well. The last thing that you can do, obviously, in this little form is choose the columns that you'd like. So maybe I want the enrollment date. I also want the traineeship duration in years or even months. And I want to have a look at the fact that that training plan has been created, or even just the date that it was created. So I could click done, and it's those three columns. I can click submit, and that's my saved view. So if I jump back to that class that I was just in, I now, if I scroll down to my views, have a custom saved view. So I can actually click on my trainee view that I've just saved, and if I had all of those details filled in, you would then be able to see those columns filled out with that information. So that's everything. Just to recap, I've just gone through our new portfolio checklist view, where you select a checklist and go through and be able to see exactly who has and does not have documents uploaded against them. And then the second thing I went through is our new columns option that you have, as well as saving that custom column view as well. Have a great day.